Hello, my friends. Today, I want to start with a truth that's taken me a lifetime to understand. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's freedom. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you truly sat in silence, free from distractions, and felt at peace? In today's world, quiet moments are rare, and even when we have them, we often fill them with noise. But as I've grown older, I've discovered that those quiet moments, those pauses in the rush of life, hold a kind of beauty I never knew before. At 71, I've come to embrace something I used to resist. The idea that being alone doesn't mean something is missing. It means I'm finally whole. Let me be clear, I don't hate people. I've spent decades surrounded by family, friends, and all the wonderful chaos that life brings. But somewhere along the way, I realized something profound. I don't need to be around people all the time to feel happy, fulfilled, or connected. In fact, the more I've embraced solitude, the lighter, freer, and more at peace I've felt. Maybe you've noticed this too. Maybe, as the years have passed, you've found yourself drawn to the quiet, to the stillness. You've started to see solitude not as something to avoid, but as something to cherish. And if that resonates with you, then let me tell you, you're not alone. In this video, I want to share with you what I've learned about solitude, relationships, and the quiet joys of life as we age. These aren't just lessons. They're gifts that have transformed the way I live and the way I see the world. Because here's the truth. Life is too short to spend on things or people that don't bring you peace. It's time to embrace what truly matters. Let's take this journey together. Let's rediscover the beauty of living simply, intentionally, and authentically. You don't need anyone's permission to live your life your way. And if you've been looking for a sign to slow down, to breathe, to let go of the noise, then this is it. So sit back, take a deep breath, and let's begin. The quiet moments that speak the loudest. Let me tell you something I never fully understood until I reached my 70s. The most meaningful moments in life are often the quietest. You see, when I was younger, I thought happiness had to be loud. It was the sound of laughter in a crowded room, the excitement of achieving something big, or the buzz of being surrounded by people. I thought the louder the moment, the more important it was. But now, I've come to realize that the quiet moments, the ones we often overlook, are the ones that speak the loudest. Let me give you an example. There is a special kind of peace I feel every morning when I sit with my cup of tea and watch the sunrise. No phone, no chatter, no rush to get anywhere. Just me, the warmth of the tea in my hands, and the colors of the sky shifting from dark to light. In that stillness, I feel a sense of gratitude that I can't put into words. It's in those moments that life feels its richest. When was the last time you truly paused to take in a moment like that? No distractions, no multitasking, just being present. The truth is, the world around us is constantly pulling at our attention. Notifications ping, schedules fill up, and there's always something or someone demanding our energy. It's easy to get caught up in the noise, to think that being busy means being productive, or that being surrounded by people means you're connected. But when we allow ourselves to step away from all of that, we realize something incredible. Life is at its most beautiful in the stillness. I've learned to find joy in the small, quiet things. The sound of leaves rustling in the wind, the gentle rhythm of waves at the shore, the first sip of coffee on a cold morning. These moments may seem insignificant to some, but to me they feel sacred. Here's what I want you to know. Quiet moments aren't empty. They're full of clarity, full of meaning, and full of an honesty that's hard to find in the noise of everyday life. And something amazing happens when we embrace those quiet moments. We begin to hear ourselves again, our own thoughts, our own dreams, our own truths. It's as if the chaos of the world fades away, and what's left is the essence of who we truly are. For so many years, I avoided the quiet. I thought that if I slowed down, I'd feel lonely or unproductive. But now, I see it differently. The quiet isn't something to fear. It's something to welcome. It's a space where we can reflect, recharge, and reconnect with ourselves. Let me ask you this. What are the quiet moments in your life that you've been overlooking? Maybe it's the stillness of a sunset, the sound of rain on your window, or the peace of sitting in your favorite chair. Whatever it is, take a moment to notice it, to let it in. Because in those quiet moments, you'll find something truly profound. Yourself. So the next time the world feels too loud, too demanding, or too chaotic, give yourself permission to step back, to sit in the stillness and just be. Because the quiet moments, my friends, they speak the loudest, and they have so much to say. The wisdom of letting go. Letting go. 2 simple words, but one of life's hardest lessons to truly learn. For so many years, I believed that holding on was a sign of strength. I thought that if I just worked harder, gave more, or tried to be better, I could save every relationship, keep every connection, and hold on to every piece of my life. But as I've grown older, I've realized something important. Sometimes, the truest form of strength is letting go. Let me ask you, how much of your energy have you spent trying to hold on to things or people that no longer bring you peace? Relationships that feel one-sided, expectations that weigh you down, or even old versions of yourself that no longer fit who you've become. I've been there. I've clung to friendships long after they ran their course, trying desperately to keep them alive because I thought letting go would make me a bad person. I've held on to mistakes and regrets, replaying them in my mind as if I could rewrite the past. I've even held on to identities and roles, caretaker, peacemaker, achiever, because I thought they defined me. But here's what I've learned. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about making space. It's about making space for what truly matters, for the relationships that nurture you, for the opportunities that excite you, and for the peace that comes when you release what no longer serves you. There's a wisdom in letting go that comes with time. It's not easy. In fact, it can be downright painful. But holding on to things that no longer align with who you are is like carrying a heavy suitcase on a journey where you no longer need it. The longer you carry it, the more it weighs you down. Let me share this. People come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Some teach us lessons. Others walk with us for a while, and a few remain with us through all of life's ups and downs. The pain comes when we try to hold on to someone who was only meant to teach us a lesson. I used to think that every relationship was meant to last forever. I thought that letting go was a failure, but now I see it differently. Letting go isn't losing, it's learning. It's understanding that not everyone is meant to stay, and that's okay. And it's not just about people. Letting go also means releasing the expectations we place on ourselves. It means forgiving yourself for mistakes, letting go of old dreams that no longer fit, and embracing the person you've become instead of mourning the person you used to be. There's a kind of freedom that comes with this wisdom. When you let go of what weighs you down, you make room for what lifts you up. You make room for joy, for clarity, and for the life you truly want to live. So let me ask you again, what are you holding on to that no longer serves you? A toxic relationship, a grudge, an expectation that's impossible to meet. Take a moment to reflect and be honest with yourself. Letting go is never easy, but it's one of the most loving things you can do for yourself and for others. It's an act of self-respect, a way of honoring your own peace and well-being. And here's the most beautiful part. When you let go, you don't lose yourself. You find yourself. You discover a version of you that is lighter, freer, and more at peace. So, my friends, don't be afraid to let go. Release the weight of what no longer belongs in your life and trust that what's meant for you will always find its way. There's a wisdom in letting go, and it's one of life's greatest gifts. Redefining happiness. From noise to peace. What does happiness look like to you? Close your eyes for a moment and picture it. Is it a room full of laughter, a big celebration, or the thrill of crossing something off your bucket list? For many years, that's what happiness looked like to me. Loud, busy, full of activity. But as I've grown older, I've realized something profound. True happiness doesn't have to be noisy. In fact, some of the most meaningful happiness I've ever felt has come in the quietest, simplest moments of my life. You see, when I was younger, I tied happiness to the big things, the achievements, the milestones, the applause. I thought happiness was something you earned by working hard, pushing yourself, and always aiming higher. And while those moments of success felt good, they were fleeting. The rush faded, and I was left chasing the next big thing, never truly satisfied. But now, at 71, my definition of happiness has completely changed. It's no longer about the noise of the outside world. It's about the peace I've found within myself. Happiness, I've discovered, is sitting on my porch with a warm cup of tea, feeling the breeze on my face and hearing the birds sing. It's watching the sun dip below the horizon and letting the stillness wash over me. It's waking up in the morning and feeling grateful, not because of something grand, but because of the simple fact that I'm here, alive and present. These quiet moments have taught me that happiness doesn't come from doing more. It comes from being more. It's about being present, being intentional, and being true to yourself. Let me ask you this. How often do you let yourself simply be? No distractions, no rushing to the next task, just you, fully present in the moment. If you're like I was, those moments may feel rare, even impossible, but let me tell you, they're worth finding. For so long, I believed the lie that busyness was a measure of happiness, that the more I filled my calendar, the more successful and fulfilled I would feel. But what I've learned is that busyness is often just noise. It distracts us from what truly matters. When I finally slowed down, I began to notice the little things I used to overlook, the way sunlight streams through the curtains, the laughter of my grandchildren, the joy of finishing a good book. These are the moments that feel like happiness to me now. Redefining happiness also means letting go of the need for external validation. I no longer seek happiness in the approval of others, in accolades, or in achieving things that don't truly align with my values. Instead, I've turned inward, asking myself, what truly brings me joy? For me, it's the peace of knowing I don't owe anyone my time or energy unless I choose to give it. It's the freedom to live life on my own terms without feeling guilty for saying no to things that don't serve me. Here's the most beautiful part. This kind of happiness doesn't rely on anything outside of yourself. It doesn't come from what you accomplish, what you own, or how others see you. It comes from within. Let me share a little wisdom with you. Happiness isn't found in the loudness of life. It's found in the spaces between. It's in the quiet pauses, the moments of stillness, the times when you allow yourself to slow down and just be. So, if you've been chasing happiness in the noise, always striving, always doing, I invite you to pause, to breathe, to look for joy in the small everyday moments. You might be surprised by how much beauty you find, because at the end of the day, happiness isn't about how much you've achieved or how busy you've been. It's about how deeply you've lived. It's about finding peace, not in the noise of the world, but in the quiet of your own heart. And let me tell you, that kind of happiness, it's the kind that stays. Saying no is saying yes to yourself. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you said no to something? Not because you didn't have the time, but because it simply didn't serve you, didn't align with your peace, or didn't bring you joy. For years, I struggled to say no. I thought saying yes to everything made me a good person. I believed that putting others first, no matter the cost to myself, was the right thing to do. But let me tell you, that way of thinking left me drained, exhausted, and disconnected from my own needs. Here's the truth I wish I had learned sooner. Saying no isn't selfish. It's necessary. You can't give your best to others if you're running on empty. And every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to yourself, to your peace, your well-being, and your happiness. I used to think that saying no meant I was letting people down, that it made me less caring, less reliable, or less valuable. But over time, I've come to see that saying no is one of the most loving things you can do, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. Let me explain. When you say no to things that don't serve you, you're creating space for the things that do. You're protecting your energy, your time, and your mental health. And when you're able to show up fully for the things that matter, you give your best self to the people and experiences that truly deserve it. Saying no is also about setting boundaries, and boundaries are a form of self-respect. They're a way of telling the world, this is what I need to thrive, this is what I can give, and this is what I can't. For most of my life, I didn't understand this. I said yes to things I didn't want to do out of guilt or obligation. I let people cross boundaries because I didn't know how to enforce them, and I gave away my time and energy without ever stopping to ask myself, is this what I really want? But as I've grown older, I've learned that it's okay to disappoint others if it means staying true to yourself. It's okay to step back, to say no, and to protect your peace. Let me share an example with you. There was a time when I felt obligated to attend every event I was invited to, family gatherings, social outings, even things I didn't enjoy. I'd show up out of a sense of duty, but inside, I felt drained. And then one day, I asked myself, why am I doing this? Am I attending because it brings me joy, or because I'm afraid of what people will think if I don't? That question changed everything. From that moment on, I started making choices that aligned with my values, not someone else's expectations. At first, it wasn't easy. I felt guilty for saying no, for prioritizing myself, but over time, I realized something powerful. The people who truly care about you will understand and respect your boundaries. And those who don't, well, they were never really in your corner to begin with. Saying no has allowed me to reclaim my time and energy. It's given me the freedom to focus on what truly matters, on the relationships and experiences that bring me joy, on the quiet moments that nourish my soul, and on the things that align with my values. So, let me ask you again, when was the last time you said no? If it's been a while, I encourage you to start small. Maybe it's declining an invitation to something you don't truly want to attend, or saying no to a request that doesn't fit into your life right now. And when you do, remember this. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Your no is enough. Because every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to yourself, yes to your peace, yes to your happiness, yes to the life you truly want to live. So go ahead, say no without guilt, say no with confidence, and know that in doing so, you're giving yourself the greatest gift of all, the freedom to live on your own terms, a life of depth, not distraction. Let me ask you, how often do you feel like life is pulling you in every direction? The notifications, the endless to-do lists, the constant noise of the world around us. It's exhausting, isn't it? For many years, I thought that's just how life was supposed to be. Busy, full, a constant hustle. But as I've grown older, I've realized something powerful. A life filled with distractions is not the same as a life well lived. In my younger years, I thought success meant filling every moment with activity. I packed my days with work, errands, and social obligations, believing that the busier I was, the more productive, and therefore, the more valuable I'd feel. But no matter how much I accomplished, I always felt something was missing. Now, at 71, I've chosen a different path, a life of depth, not distraction. What does that mean? It means I no longer measure my worth by how many tasks I check off a list or how many events I attend. Instead, I focus on the things that truly matter: meaningful connections, intentional moments, and experiences that bring me joy. A life of depth is about being present. It's about sitting with a loved one and really listening to their words instead of thinking about what's next on your schedule. It's about savoring the simple things: a walk in nature, the sound of rain, the warmth of a quiet evening at home. Let me share something I've learned. Distractions are easy. They're everywhere, on our phones, in our calendars, in the expectations others place on us. It's easy to fill our lives with noise to stay busy, to keep moving so we don't have to sit with our own thoughts. But depth takes intention. It requires slowing down, looking inward, and asking yourself, what really matters to me? When I started choosing depth over distraction, everything changed. I stopped chasing things that didn't align with my values. I let go of obligations that drained me, and I learned to say no to the things that didn't bring me peace. Instead of filling my days with busyness, I now fill them with meaning. I focus on quality over quantity in my relationships, in my time, and in my energy. And you know what I've discovered? The less I do, the more I feel. The less I chase, the more I find. Life has a richness now that I never experienced when I was constantly distracted. Let me ask you, how much of your life is spent on things that don't truly matter? How often do you find yourself saying yes out of obligation or filling your time with things that leave you feeling empty? If your answer is too often, I want you to know something. You can choose a different way. Living a life of depth doesn't mean isolating yourself or giving up on ambition. It means being intentional about where you put your time and energy. It means choosing the things that add meaning to your life instead of the things that simply fill it up. For me, that looks like focusing on a few deep relationships rather than trying to maintain dozens of shallow ones. It means spending my time on activities that bring me peace rather than ones that drain me. It means prioritizing what feels right in my heart, not what others expect of me. And the result? A life that feels lighter, freer, and more fulfilling. Here's the truth. A life of distraction keeps us busy, but it doesn't make us happy. A life of depth, on the other hand, allows us to connect with what truly matters, to ourselves, to others, and to the world around us. So I encourage you to take a moment to reflect. What distractions are pulling you away from a life of depth? What could you let go of to create more space for the things that truly matter? Because at the end of the day, it's not about how much you've done, it's about how deeply you've lived. Choose depth over distraction. Choose meaning over noise. And in that choice, you'll find a life that feels richer, fuller, and truer to who you are. My friends, as we come to the end of this journey together, I want to leave you with a simple truth. Life is too precious to spend it chasing after things that don't truly matter. At 71, I've come to see that life isn't about perfection or constant achievement. It's about authenticity. It's about being true to who you are, embracing what brings you peace, and letting go of everything that doesn't. There's a kind of freedom in living authentically. It means you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You don't have to follow someone else's definition of success or happiness. You can create your own. For me, that's meant letting go of the need to always be busy, always be surrounded by people, always be doing more. Instead, I've learned to savor the moments that bring me joy. A quiet evening at home, a deep conversation with someone I love, or the simple act of being fully present in the here and now. And let me tell you, it's enough. I know that embracing this kind of peace can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable at first. The world tells us to keep pushing, keep striving, keep achieving. But I'm here to tell you that it's okay to pause. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to choose yourself. So, as we close, I want to encourage you to take a moment to reflect. What brings you peace? What fills your heart with joy? And what can you let go of to make room for those things? Life is a journey, and each chapter brings new lessons, new opportunities, and new ways to grow. Embrace this chapter, wherever you are, and trust that you have everything you need to live a life of meaning, connection, and peace. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope these reflections have brought you comfort, clarity, and maybe even a little inspiration. If they have, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's support each other on this beautiful journey of authentic living. And remember, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to please everyone. You just have to be you. And that, my friends, is more than enough. Here's to peace, to joy, and to the simple, profound beauty of just being.